everybody. This is Nabi back again, Afro Nabi. And let me greet everybody real quick. Verwoorden haar Bdub, Ola Oiti de Bem. Vasas Los Bonsham as me, Kada Bawani Konichiwa, Ni Ha Ni Ama, Sani Bonani, Jamba Habarigani, Assalamu alaikum and shalom. And so, what we have here is a situations where brothers that haven't learned yet need to learn. But I guess this is going to go out to brothers who share my information and a lot of these things with the youth. Okay. And so replace the Bdub tent nail with another. Incidentally, the term Bdub, I got that from Black Ram 313. So I wanted to give him a little shout out since I haven't been on here for a while. But as we get into this, right, the brother have been betrayed and gaslit by the Bdub for a long time. And what we are starting to realize is in this betrayal, they would help anybody involved in criminal action, especially Zaddy. Their love is for Zaddy. Let's not get it twisted. The thing is, Zaddy don't love nobody. Not really. Zaddy looks at everything as property, all right, to include the Bdub. But Zaddy also understands the destructive nature of Bdubs when given power by Zaddy, and he understands their vanity and desire, even having everything that they need to live a joyful coexistence with family and an Afro man. The Bdub who desire mess. Look at all the programs that they like. Look at all the stuff that's a hit. Look at all the stuff they put on BET. That's not for good people. That's not for good black people. That's not for black people who wanted to make something better of a community. That's for the toxic, the people that like mess and toxicity. And it's primarily geared at the Bdub, right? We've been given warnings in scripture for a long time, for a very long time. Avoid women with a uniform. Avoid these women that gaslight, the Bdub. When in Deuteronomy and Ezra, it gives the groups that we are not to intermarry with, they're all black. All right. Go look at Deuteronomy 9 or 7 and Ezra 9 or 7. Just you'll get in the first verse. Tells you who not to mess with and why you don't mess with them, right? And so we've seen it in our patriarchs, Abraham, and that's how we're going to get into this now. All right. And so here's the thing. We've been lied to so much. We've been lied to so much about what these allegories mean because the people that's been teaching them to us are the Caucasian people who wanted us enslaved or those people who learned from the very Caucasians who wanted us enslaved. So we have to get rid of everything that we was ever taught by them and see it as a lie until our own research bears it out to be the truth, right? But when we look at this, and we should be like Abraham, not the 12 tribes. The 12 tribes should have followed the lessons of Abraham, but they were making up their own thing based on a lot of other things. And the Most High just allowed it because we have free will. All right. And so God gave Ishmael flocks, herds, and tents on account of Abraham, his father. Right? And the man increased. So Ishmael was rich. Ishmael was not sent far from Abraham, right? So Ishmael dwelled in the desert in tents, traveling and resting for a long time. He was black, like my complexion black, right? And and he did not see the face of his father. And sometime after, Abraham said to Sarah, his wife, I will go and see my son Ishmael. I have desired to see him, for I have not seen him in a long time. Right? So Abraham rode upon one of his camels to the wilderness to seek out Ishmael, for he heard that he was dwelling in tents in the wilderness with all his belongings to him. All right. Abraham went to the wilderness and he reached the tent of Ishmael about noon. So he left in the morning on camel and reached Ishmael at noon. So when Abraham sent Haggai out of the house, he didn't send them far, right? And Ishmael, noon, right? So he gets there, he asks for noon. He asked for Ishmael. I want y'all to understand this. And he found the wife of Ishmael sitting in a tent with her children. Now pay attention to what Abraham is witnessing that is going on, right? Ishmael, her husband, and his mother was not with him. Abraham asked the wife of Ishmael, saying, where has Ishmael gone? And she said, he has gone to the field to hunt. Abraham was still mounted on the camel, for he would not get off on the grounds that he had swore to Sarah that he would not get off from the camel. Abraham said to Ishmael's wife, my daughter, give me some water that I may drink, for I am fatigued from the journey. All right, so we get into the first of this when we get into the lack of hospitality that is going on. Now, you're about to witness something that this photo has everything to do with, right? And that is beatings, whippings. All right, we got beat by our so-called single Bdub mom. We got whipped, but whipped and beat. What was that all about? Slavery. Slavery and control over the Afro man. Only the mom did this while we were yet young as a brainwashing tactic so that we will always fall on our sword or worship them as we got older. And you still got old head dudes that still have not come off from under the skirt of the Bdub. All right. And Ishmael's wife answered Abraham and said to Abraham, we have neither water nor bread. And she continued sitting in the tent, did not notice Abraham. Neither did she ask him who he was, because she didn't give a damn. We're seeing this right now. There's nothing new under the sun. But she was beating her children in the tent and was cursing them. Y'all have heard it on Facebook, YouTube. Y'all see it in the streets. Y'all see it in public. Y'all see how the Bdub deals with the young Afro male. The beatings and the cursings with no regality for father figures. Remember, they don't need no man, right? And Abraham was very displeased. Now, I want y'all to understand this. There's a false narrative that's out that has been disproven by the CDC that the Afro man is not involved in his child's life. It is a lie that is perpetrated by the mayonnaise paste people in the Bdub. It's an out and outright lie. Everybody knows it's a lie, but the comedians, the Caucasian comedians, still use it. You got so-called conservative, but racist Caucasians that use this trope. And that's because the Bdub promotes this, right? But understand how deep the relationship is with Abraham and his son, Ishmael, which we were told that there was animus between Ishmael and Isaac, which that's not true. All right, you got two groups of former Caucasian or Caucasian-like people taking over our biblical allegories as if they are the people, and they create animus where there is none. And then they hide that education from the allegories where we can see what's really going on, right? And Abraham called to the woman to come out to him to the tent. And the woman came, stood opposite of Abraham, for Abraham was still mounted on the camel. And Abraham said to Ishmael's wife, when thy husband returneth, say these words. All right. And y'all can read this, but I want y'all to understand something about this. All right, I want y'all to understand something about this. He tells her what to say, and then when Ishmael gets back, she repeats it to him. Now, why do the B-dubs? What has happened here? What has happened is that the B-dub promoted the worship. I want y'all to understand something. The B-dubs promoted the worship of their derriere when nothing comes from that but nastiness. I want y'all to understand. This is what they promote. All right, this is what they promote. Their derriere. All right. And because the Afro male has been conditioned to worship that and only that, we fail at understanding what good women are. Now, here is this, right? Here's this. I want y'all to understand this. When you leave the United States, a lot of brothers are marrying these women here. And why? Because they got a little shape on them too. But when they present to the Afro man, they don't present just their shape. They present from the front. They present a smile. Like generally smiling, generally want to be happy, generally want to make you happy. But what do we get? We get betrayal and the women who have nothing to offer but run through box that has been utterly destroyed and so wide that now size matters to them. Remember, size does not matter to a virgin. Let me repeat that. Size does not matter to a virgin. The less worn out a woman is, the less size matters. But if she's doing all matter of wickedness with toys and a bevy of men, then she's worn out. She's no good. All right. And so the other thing is she uses her body to oppress instead of bless. And so these things befall them. This is the legacy that's left. Read, you are your mother's daughter. People shall use a proverb against you, like mother, like daughter. There's no sins of the father. It's like mother, like daughter. Read. Now read this and understand the witchcraft that we're looking at. That weave makes them act a certain way. I want y'all to understand something. So Isaiah points this out. But what's going to happen and what's happening now is the good men are saying no because the Bdub has squandered everything. But it's worse than that. All the righteous men or the young brothers, they are seeing no worth in the Bdubs anymore. Not because it isn't that they don't look good. It's just that we see the toxicity, we see the betrayal, we see they mean nothing good for us as men, right? And so now we come back to this. When Ishmael thy husband returned him, thus say to him, when thou comest home, when Ishmael thy husband returneth, tell him, thus saith this man, when thou comest home, put away the nail of this tent which thou hast placed here, and place another nail in its stead. Right? And that's what's happening now. B-dubs can't see it, neither can their minion simps. But they are being replaced and they don't know how to deal with it. And so they're becoming more vitriolic, right? But at the end of the day, no one beats the wall. And the simps are going to partake in that wall right along with the B-dub because they can't win in this, especially when they started the war, but you can't win when you don't want to change and you're fighting on a losing side.